Good morning, everyone. So my name is Caroline Hunt, and I'm the Managing Director of Emerald Starfish, which is an outsourced recruitment department. And today I'm going to spend probably about 10 minutes of your time to look at 5 little-known habits that you need to use as a business leader to be able to recruit successfully. So let me just share my screen with you. Here we go, right. Okay. And what we're going to look at is, first of all, what makes for great recruitment and what are the skills needed to be a good and effective recruiter. And then I'm going to just look at 5 little known habits, which actually, if you can adopt these as part of your recruitment, then it'll make such a big difference. And then the final part will be a Q&A session, which I'm not going to record. But obviously, if you want some more information from me, please feel free to contact me. My details are on the channel. So first of all, I thought I'd start off by looking at what makes great recruitment. And really, there's 3 points with this. The first of which is great communication. A recent poll has shown that 2/3 of candidates said that bad communication within the recruitment process affected how they felt about their experience with a company. And thinking about the other videos we've done about candidate experience and candidate engagement, it's really important to get this bit right. Also, 1/3 of candidates had turned a job down as a result of a poor recruitment process. So, and again, this comes down to communication, if they've not been kept in the loop or things have been allowed to slip. So the first thing you need is to be a great communicator. Oh, gone on ahead. The second thing you need to be a finisher completer. You know, if somebody accepts your job, don't just think it's a job done. Think about what you need to do to be able to make sure that they start on that right day, so that the contract's gone out, you follow up with them, you do everything you can to get them into your job. And the final thing is persistence. Candidates want to be wooed and flattered, particularly at the moment, but even as we go into recession, their candidates still want to feel that they are important, and they're much more likely to be successful in the role and to take your role if they feel that they've had this. So if a candidate isn't sure about the role, keep going with them, build that relationship, keep the communication going, and that will make a real difference. So those are the 3 things that I think you need to have anyway. And then here are 5 habits of great recruitment, which I think that as a business leader, you should be adopting as part of your recruitment process. So the first of which is to have a recruitment timeline. And what I mean by this is to have a look, start with the end in mind. You know, if you want somebody to start on the 1st of March 2023, you need to be offering that job by the 1st of February. So they've got a month's worth of notice. So before that, you'll obviously need to do your interview stages, however many that might be. You need time in for sifting. You might need some time for some psychometric testing. And obviously the most important bit is you need the time for the advertising. So if you start with the end in mind, you can then map out the whole process for candidates, which they absolutely love. One of the big advantages by doing this is you can put this information on the adverts. And what that means is that when candidates read your adverts, they can see how up to date they are. If they can see that you're interviewing in a week and a half's time, they know it's worth applying for the position. Whereas actually, if it doesn't say, they're not quite sure how old the advert is, how important the advert is to fill. And it also adds transparency to your recruitment process, which 41% of candidates complain about not having that. And the other thing, put a closing date on the advert. All ties in with this timeline. So number 1, have a recruitment timeline. So number 2, communicate with clarity. And what I mean by that is that recruitment practices in the past have trained candidates to expect to have a poor recruitment process. Candidates expect recruitment to be hit and miss. And they also expect applications to disappear into a black hole. And therefore, if you can get this right, you will most definitely secure better quality of candidates, but you'll get candidates accepting your roles over other roles, which might actually be more suitable for them or offer them greater long-term opportunities. So if you can tell a candidate what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, you'll improve your candidate process completely. So communicate about the timelines. Now, things happen. Sometimes they can change. If that's the case, let them know. Communication is appropriate via text, via email, via phone call is best, particularly if it's putting something back and you're nearly at the end of the recruitment process. Make sure you communicate company information as well. It's a two-way process. Candidates also need to be choosing your company. So make sure you communicate what are the benefits of working for you. Not just what you do, but why you do it and what it's like to work for you. Tell them what you're testing them on. So if there are psychometric tests, explain to them why you're doing that. Or if there's, presentations, what the purpose of that is. Communicate on when you're going to make a decision. Ideally, you want to make it as quickly as possible. But if for some reason, if HR is out of office until, the following day, tell them, communicate it and let them know when it's like to be. And if anything changes at all, whether it's the sending out of the contract, just communicate and be clear. It will make such a difference. So number 3 is do what you say you will when you said you would. So this ties in with the last point and about being clear with communication. But one of the complaints that candidates have is that recruitment doesn't have urgency. And often, and particularly as we move into a recession and people are more likely to be facing redundant or be redundant, they will have a sense of urgency about it. It's important to understand that candidates are busy as well and perhaps interviewing for other roles, but make it really clear in terms of what you need to do and when you need to do it. It builds trust as well with the candidate. If you say that you're going to give them a call on Thursday afternoon and you do it, that goes a long way. If you say you're going to call them on Thursday and you don't get around to picking it up to the following Monday, there's all sorts of messages around importance, around trust that you are conveying, which you might not want them to feel. So number 4 is score candidates to remove subjectivity. So if you've ever worked with Emerald Starfish before, you know that this is something that we are really, really keen on, and that it's really important. Studies show that it takes less than 2 seconds to make a decision on a person, and therefore what you want to do is to try and suspend that decision for as long as possible and base the decision based on facts rather than feelings. So think about taking away the subjectivity and how you can compare one candidate to another and whether you can allocate a score to that person to show that they're better or worse than somebody else. It means that you can give candidates great feedback. It means that you're consistent and fair with your process, and it will help you make better decisions. And then the final point is listen to your intuition. And this comes with a caveat. So if you have a really positive feeling about somebody, ignore it. You should have enough evidence from the work that you've done, from the interviews, the information you've gathered, any psychometric testing, any ability testing, to back all that good feeling up. It's not important. Where intuition is really important is when something doesn't feel quite right. And we've all had that, where we've seen a candidate who on paper seems really great. When you meet them, they're still okay, but there's just some nagging feeling. And having been in recruitment for the last 25 years, it's really worth listening to your intuition. So things that we find that we can pick up on, and it's always so disappointing when we do, are candidates that accept a position and then don't take it. That's something that from the voice tones we can tell. We just know that. And spend time developing that and listening to your intuition and asking yourself whether you've heard and what you've heard and whether it's the right things. So those are our 5 points. So just going back over them, the first one is to make sure you always have a recruitment timeline. It's a great habit to get into and makes clarity. Communicate and be clear in terms of your intentions with recruitment. do what you're going to do when you're going to do it and tell people when that is. Have some level of scoring system to remove subjectivity. And the final point is listen to your intuition. So thank you ever so much for listening. If you'd like any more information, please contact Emerald Starfish on 0116 2080 246 or visit our website at emerald-starfish.com. Thank you very much for your time. Take care.